everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all present here on the occasion of our Youth Parliament. Today, we have not just gathered here as students, but as responsible citizens of tomorrow, ready to voice our opinions, exchange ideas, and experience the spirit of democracy in action. The Youth Parliament is a platform that encourages us to think critically, speak confidently, and understand the value of healthy debate and discussion. It allows us to realize that leadership is not just about holding positions, but about taking responsibility and working for the betterment of our society. On behalf of Vidyashri International School, I warmly welcome our respected principal ma'am and teachers whose presence inspires us. I also extend a special welcome to all the students who will bring life to this session with their enthusiasm and thoughtful arguments. Let this Youth Parliament not only be a practice of parliamentary procedures, but also a step towards nurturing responsible, aware and active citizens of our nation. With that note, I once again welcome you all and look forward to a fruitful and engaging session.
Who have been elected as a member of group. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all the members. I am sure you will all help the chief in maintaining the high traditions of this house and thereby strengthening the edifice and the roots of our democratic policy. I wish you all success in your endeavors. Let's begin the session with oath ceremony. Secretary General, please.
Ms. Sardar from Delhi constituency will now take oath. Would you like to take oath?
I, Sabra, have been elected a member of the people, do swear in the name of God, affirm that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by the law established, and that I will uphold sovereignty and integrity of India and faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter. Thank you. Ms. Reed from Bharatpur constituency will now take oath. Madam, in which language would you like to take oath?
मैं भी लोकसभा के सदस्य निर्वाचित हुई हूँ। ईश्वर की शपथ लेती हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगी। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगी तथा मैं उस कर्तव्य का निष्ठापूर्वक निर्वहन करूंगी जिसे मैं ग्रहण करने वाली हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Mr. Herman from Amritsar constituency will now take oath. Sir, in which language would you like to take oath?
मैं हरमन जिन्हों लोकसभा का सदस्य मनोनीत किया गया है ईश्वर की शपथ लेना कि विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखांगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखांगा तथा मैंने सौंपे गए कर्तव्यों का निष्ठापूर्वक निर्वहन करांगा। धन्यवाद।
Ms. Hunar from Shimoga constituency will now take oath. Madam, in which language would you like to take oath?
अहम हुनर यह लोकसभा सदस्य में निर्वाचित है ईश्वर से नामना शपथ है अहम विधिना स्थापितं भारतस्य संविधानं प्रति श्रद्धां सत्यां निष्ठां च धरिष्यामि अहम भारतस्य प्रभुतां अखंडतां च अक्षुणां रक्षिष्यामि तथा यत् पदं कृत्वा अहम उद्यते अस्मि तस्य कृत्यवाणि श्रद्धापूर्वकं निर्वेशयामि। धन्यवाद।
Now, let's begin the question hour. Secretary General, speak.
Ms. Gayatri, please. The belated decision to simplify the GST regime by removing the 20% to 28% tax slab is to gain the buoyancy to the Modi's government popularity at a time when it is grappling with allegations of vote theft. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, sir, today I am speaking not as a CA but as a common man. The Finance Minister often replies to my questions by saying he is not a chartered accountant or by questioning my degree. I respect her experience, position, but today I set aside that degree and speak not as a CA but as a common man because I want to show how the government collects taxes at every step of life, from birth to death, without giving basic facilities in return. A child's vaccination has 5% GST, baby food 18%, diapers 12%, and even toys 12%. In teenage years, smartphones, internet, OTT, and movies all carry 18% GST. A bike collects 18% GST plus road tax. Higher education is no relief. Tuition, hostel, laptops, and loans are all taxed 18%, and foreign studies attract 5% TCS. When a career begins, income tax cuts 5 to 30% of salary. Every meal or movie has 18% GST. Investments are taxed. Capital gains are 10 to 20%, and even insurance premiums have 18% GST. In middle age, cars are taxed at 18%, petrol and diesel at 40 to 50%, houses with 5 to 18% GST and 7% stamp duty, and weddings with 18% GST. Retirement is no escape. Pensions are taxed. Medicines 5 to 12% GST and insurance 18% GST. Even after death, obituary ads, funeral items and property transfers face 5 to 20% taxes.
Finance Minister, answer please.
Honorable Speaker, sir, next generation GST reforms as announced by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi from the ramparts of Red Fort on 15th August 2025 represent a strategic principle and citizen-centric evolution of a landmark tax framework which will enhance the quality of life of every last citizen. GST Council approves reforms with a multi-sectoral and multi-thematic focus on improving the lives of all citizens and ensuring ease of doing business for all, including small traders and businessmen. GST Council approves rate rationalization with a focus on common man labor-intensive industries, farmers and agriculture, health, key drivers of the economy. Exemption of GST on all individual life insurance policies, whether term life, ULIP or endowment policies, and reinsurance thereof to make insurance affordable for the common man and increase the insurance coverage in the country. Rationalization of the current four-tiered tax rate structure into a citizen-friendly simple tax, a two-rate structure with a standard rate of 18% and a merit rate of 5%, a special demerit rate of 40% for a select few goods and services. Reduction of GST from 5% to nil on ultra-high temperature milk, pre-packed and labeled chhena or paneer. All Indian breads will see nil rates. Chapati, roti, paratha, etc. Reduction of GST from 12% or 18% to 5% on almost all the food items such as packed namkeens, bhujia, sauces, pasta, instant noodles, chocolates, coffee, preserved meat, cornflakes, butter, ghee, etc. Reduction of GST from 28% to 18% on air conditioning machines, TVs 32-inch, all TVs now at 18%, dishwashing machines, small cars, motorcycles equal to or less than 350cc. Reduction of GST from 12% to 5% on agricultural goods such as tractors, agricultural, horticulture or forestry machinery for soil preparation or cultivation, harvesting or threshing machinery including straw or fodder balers, grass or hay mowers, composting machines, etc. Reduction of GST from 12% to nil on 33 life-saving drugs and medicines and from 5% to nil on 3 life-saving drugs and medicines used for treatment of cancer, rare diseases and other severe chronic diseases. Reduction of GST from 28% to 18% on buses, trucks, ambulances, etc. Uniform rate of 18% on all auto parts irrespective of their HS code. GST Council recommends operationalization of goods and services tax appellate tribunal for accepting appeals before end of September and to commence hearing before end of December 2025.
मिश्रा प्लीज। ये सच है, इरादे हमारे विध्वंसक नहीं और अकारण युद्ध के हम प्रशंसक नहीं, अहिंसा के पुजारी हैं, पर कह दो इस दुनिया से अहिंसक हैं, कायर नहीं। Greetings to the members of the House. Today I find it quite unfortunate standing in a country where after decades of independence there's still a section of people that find it unsure if they will live to see another day. Where mothers are scared to send their kids to school and their young children open their eyes to the horror of blood-soaked streets instead of playgrounds. Today, I want each one of you present here to reflect on the sufferings that Kashmir has endured for our nation. From Baramulla in 1947 to Kabul in 1999, from 3 blood-soaked wars to painful tragedies of Uri, Pulwama and now Pahalgam, आज 140 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों की तरफ से मैं सरकार से सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ स्पीकर सर कि 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में एक भी सिक्योरिटी पर्सोनल तैनात क्यों नहीं था? अगर होते तो आज शायद 26 परिवारों ने अपने भाई, अपने बेटे या अपने पतियों को नहीं खोया होता। Who is accountable for such a massive security lapse in one of the most sensitive regions of the earth? How many more Pahalgams have to happen for our nation to realize that these things are not right? And to ensure that such instances do not happen ever again to our future generation. Today, I stand in full support of the 1994 resolution. It has to be implemented, it has to be revisited, yes. But trust me, doing that alone is not enough.
पाकिस्तान की सरहदों पर कुछ पटाखे चलाने से वो देश ना कभी सुधरेगा ना कभी सुधरा था। If India wants action, it has to switch to aggressive diplomacy. Storm the UN, put sanctions on it, and make sure that no one, I repeat, no one globally trades with it.
Miss Alisha, please. The time for hesitations and half measures, friends, is over. To the opposition party, I would like to ask, was there peace when 40 CRPF jawans were murdered in Pulwama? Was there peace when our brave soldiers were ambushed in Uri? Was there peace when our air force was attacked in Pathankot? Silence, my friends, is not diplomacy, and appeasement is not strategy. When terror is exported across the border as state policy, the only response must be strength. Under this very government, our border security forces are sharper, stronger, and more technologically equipped than ever before. Today, drone survey, night vision monitoring, and satellite tracking have significantly reduced infiltration. The surgical strike forces to Uri, the Balakot airstrikes, and even, my friends, the most recent Operation Sindoor sent a message that India will not tolerate terrorism, not even for one night. Looking forward, this government is laying a comprehensive blueprint to eliminate terrorism from its very roots. We have empowered agencies like the NIA and the Multi-Agency Center for Real-Time Intelligence Sharing. We are tackling money laundering and finance head-on. Now, my friends, let us not forget that every single government of India has been facing the dark shadows of terrorism since independence. But the difference today lies in the clarity of intent to move from response to retaliation, from defense to deterrence. But again, I must remind you that the fight isn't just the governments. It is of India, it is of Indians. We need internal unity, we need collective political will, and we need to rise above our partition lines and stand with our armed forces. So I ask the members of this house, will we let the pain of a martyrs go in vain? Will we keep waiting for another attack to wake up, or will we act now, boldly and decisively as one nation? India, my friends, has wept enough. India, my friends, has condemned enough. And now it is the time to wake up and to act bold and decisively. It is the time to honor our 1994 resolution and end cross-border terrorism. Now we must let the world know that India will rise, India will fight, and India will prevail. Because at the end of the day, भारत सिर्फ एक भूमि का टुकड़ा नहीं, एक जीती जाती राष्ट्र की आत्मा है। और अगर कोई हमारा धर्म पूछ के मारेगा तो हम धर्म बता के मारेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, बड़े दुख के साथ मैं ये प्रश्न रखना चाहता हूँ। मैं 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों की ओर से पूछना चाहता हूँ कि बार बार हमारे देश में पहलगाम जैसी घटनाएं क्यों दोहराई जा रही हैं? दुनिया को हम यह दिखाना चाहते हैं कि हम अहिंसा के पुजारी हैं, लेकिन अहिंसा का यह अर्थ नहीं है कि हम अत्याचार सहते रहें। हम कायर नहीं है। अब पूरा राष्ट्र जानना चाहता है, क्या पहलगाम सिर्फ एक आधा अधूरा राजनीतिक प्रदर्शन था? क्यों हमारी वायुसेना के पराक्रम को बेड़ियों में जकड़ा गया? क्यों पाकिस्तान को पहले ही संदेश भेजा गया कि उनके सैन्य ठिकाने पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होगी, और मात्र 22 मिनट में पूरे पहलगाम की उनके सैन्य ठिकाने पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होगी और मात्र 22 मिनट में घुटनों पर आकर युद्ध विराम की भीख मांगी जाएगी? क्या ये सत्य नहीं है कि डोनाल्ड ट्रंप तक ने दावा किया है कि उन्होंने खुद युद्ध विराम करवाया? यदि ये सारे आरोप निराधार हैं, तो क्या आप इस सदन और पूरे राष्ट्र के सामने बिना गोलमोल जवाब दिए साफ साफ स्वीकार करेंगे कि पहलगाम पूरी तरह सफल, निर्भीक और भारत की गरिमा के अनुरूप था? यह हमें यह मान लेना चाहिए कि यह सिर्फ एक इमेज बचाने का खेल था। धन्यवाद।
silence, please. Mr. Prime Minister, answer please.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर सेना की तीनों सेवाओं का एक बेमिसाल उदाहरण है, जिसके तहत पाकिस्तान की हर हरकत का करारा जवाब दिया गया। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर किसी दबाव में नहीं, बल्कि लक्ष्य हासिल होने के बाद रोका गया। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर अभी समाप्त नहीं हुआ है। हमारा ये ऑपरेशन पूरी तरह सफल रहा और सेनाओं ने अपना लक्ष्य हासिल कर लिया। हमने किसी दबाव में आकर इसे नहीं रोका, बल्कि हमने दुश्मन के हर मंसूबे पर पानी फेरा। हमारा मकसद युद्ध छेड़ना नहीं था, बल्कि आतंकवादियों के ढांचों को नेस्तनाबूद करना था। और मात्र 22 मिनट के ऑपरेशन में उसे हासिल कर लिया गया। यह कहना गलत है कि किसी दबाव में ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को रोका गया था। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान सशस्त्र बल अपने सभी उद्देश्यों को पूरा करने में सफल रहे और पाकिस्तान की गुहार लगाने और डीजीएमओ स्तर पर बातचीत के बाद ही इसे रोका गया था। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को अंजाम देने से पहले हर पहलू पर बहुत गहराई के साथ अध्ययन किया गया था। यह विकल्प चुना गया था कि आतंकवादियों और उनके ठिकानों को ही नुकसान पहुंचाया जाए और पाकिस्तान के आम नागरिकों को कोई क्षति ना हो। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में 100 से अधिक आतंकवाद मारे गए। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर केवल सैन्य कार्यवाही नहीं थी, बल्कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारी नीति का निर्णायक प्रकटीकरण था। पाकिस्तान हमारे किसी भी टारगेट को भेद नहीं सका और किसी संपत्ति को नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा पाया। विपक्ष ने नहीं पूछा कि दुश्मन के कितने विमान गिरे। विपक्ष के लोग यह पूछते रहे कि हमारे कितने विमान गिरे। यह प्रश्न जनभावनाओं का सही से प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं करता। उन्होंने हमसे कभी यह नहीं पूछा कि हमारी सेनाओं ने दुश्मन के कितने विमान मार गिराए। उनको प्रश्न ही पूछना है तो यह प्रश्न पूछे कि क्या ऑपरेशन सिंदूर सफल रहा? उत्तर है हाँ। परीक्षा में पेन और पेंसिल के टूटने की चिंता नहीं करनी चाहिए, बल्कि परीक्षा फल पर ध्यान केंद्रित करना चाहिए। जब लक्ष्य बड़े हो तब छोटे मुद्दों पर ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए। इससे देश की सुरक्षा, सैनिकों के सम्मान और उत्साह से ध्यान हट सकता है। परीक्षा के परिणाम में रिजल्ट मैटर करता है। हमें बच्चे के मार्क्स का ध्यान रखना चाहिए, इस बात का नहीं कि एग्जाम के दौरान उसकी पेंसिल टूट गई थी। रिजल्ट यह है कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान हमारी सेनाओं ने जो लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया था उसे पूर्ण रूप से प्राप्त करने में कामयाबी हासिल की है। भारत ने हमले के जवाब में अपना राइट टू रिस्पॉन्स का इस्तेमाल किया है। हमने हनुमान जी के उस आदर्श का पालन किया है जो उन्होंने अशोक वाटिका उजाड़ते समय किया था। जिन मोही मारा तिन मोही मारे, अर्थात केवल उन्हीं को मारा जिन्होंने हमारे मासूमों को मारा। धन्यवाद।
Miss Avleen, please. Why Election Commission launched a special intensive revision in Bihar?
Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, answer please.
Honorable Speaker, sir, the Election Commission cited concerns about bogus, duplicate and ineligible voters, including deceased individuals and illegal immigrants, being present on the electoral rolls. The SIR was launched to remove these entries and ensure the list is accurate and updated according to Election Commission. There were unverified complaints about illegal immigrants from Nepal, Bangladesh and Myanmar being present on the electoral rolls. Thank you.
Ms. Aditi, please. The Election Commission is facilitating vote chori. An analysis of the voter data showed that elections were rigged by the Election Commission at the behest of the BJP to help the Southern party steal votes and win the seat in the 2024 general elections. Vote chor, gatti chor. We want a special assembly to discuss this issue. Vote chor, gatti chor. Vote chor, gatti chor.
Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, answer please.
Honorable Speaker, sir, Lok Sabha cannot discuss special intensive revision exercise in Bihar. The matter is currently before the Supreme Court. Lok Sabha rules prohibit discussions on sub judice matters. The Election Commission's operation are beyond parliamentary discussions. I request to all of you to engage in debates on important legislation. Thank you.
Ms. Drishti, please.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं सरकार से पूछना चाहती हूँ, क्या यही है भाजपा का तथाकथित विकास, जहाँ सड़कों, होटलों, बांधों और रेलवे के अंधाधुंध दौर ने पंजाब में बाढ़, हिमाचल और उत्तराखंड में क्लाउड बर्स्ट जैसी तबाही को न्योता दिया? क्या आप इस उपलब्धि में बोलेंगे जब प्रकृति खुद पलटवार कर रही है, निर्दोष लोग हर साल मौत और बर्बादी झेल रहे हैं? बताइए सरकार, इस स्थिति से निपटने के लिए कोई ठोस कदम उठाने वाली है या फिर हमें हर साल यही सुनना पड़ेगा कि यह एक प्राकृतिक आपदा है और सरकार बेबस?
Silence please. Union Minister for Environment, Climate Change and Forest, answer please.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, विपक्ष को मैं यह कहना चाहूंगी कि सरकार को गुमराह करना बंद किया जाए। सरकार हमेशा अपनी पूरी क्षमता के साथ आपदा प्रभावित लोगों की मदद में लगी रहती है। विपक्ष को चाहिए कि वह इस कठिन समय में थोड़ी सहानुभूति दिखाएं, न कि प्राकृतिक आपदा को राजनीतिक हथियार बनाएं। यह बाढ़ और क्लाउड बर्स्ट प्रकृति की मार है, न कि किसी सरकार की साजिश। ऐसे समय में राजनीति नहीं, बल्कि सहयोग और एकता की जरूरत है। साथ ही पंजाब, हिमाचल और उत्तराखंड में हुई इस प्राकृतिक आपदा से निपटने के लिए सरकार ने कुल 10,000 करोड़ रुपए का विशेष कोष राहत जारी किया है। यह कोष पुनर्वास, मकान निर्माण, स्वास्थ्य सुविधाएं और सड़क संपर्क बहाल करने में खर्च किया जाएगा। इसके साथ ही सरकार ने अपनी आपदा प्रबंधन नीति लागू की है, जिसमें राज्य सरकारों और स्थानीय निकायों को विशेष अधिकार और निर्देश दिए गए हैं, ताकि भविष्य में इस तरह की आपदाओं का प्रभाव कम से कम किया जा सके। धन्यवाद।
Any further questions? Now, I request the Union Minister, Arnav Siraj, introduce the bill.
Honorable Speaker, sir, under the visionary leadership of PM Shri Narendra Modi, Digital India gave us UPI, 5G and the world's best public infrastructure. It has changed the way we pay, work and connect. Not only this, it has made India a global giant in the field of IT, technology and AI. India's online gaming segment has also gained huge momentum in the past decade. Agencies project the industry to double from 33,000 crores in 2023 to rupees 66,000 crores in 2028, with a CAGR of approximately 14.5%. But with progress comes a new challenge: to stay safe while gaming online. Necessity to introduce the bill. Addiction and financial rule. Online money games encourage compulsive playing. Many players lose their entire savings chasing the illusion of quick profits. Families have been pushed into debt and distress. Fraud and money laundering. Several platforms have been misused for illegal activities. Money laundering, which means illegal earnings through legal channels to hide their sources, has been a major concern. threat to national security. Investigations have shown that some of the gaming platforms were being used for terror financing, illegal messaging, while compromise the country's security. Encouraging healthy alternatives. The bill also makes space for positive digital engagement. Esports will be promoted as a legitimate sport, while social and educational games that build skills and culture values will receive government support. For some, it became a space of creativity and skill, but for many, it turned into a trap, addiction, financial losses, even family distress. Some platforms were misused for fraud, money laundering, and worse activities for threatening national security. The government had a choice: either ban everything or build a framework that promotes the good and shut down the bad. So here comes the promotion and regulation of Online Gaming Bill 2025. What this bill does: esports recognized, officially accepted as a legitimate form of competitive sport. Training centers, research hubs, and policies to boost India's global esports presence. Social and educational games promoted. Safe, age-appropriate, Indian value-aligned, encouraging cultural, skill-building, and recreational games. Online money games banned. No betting, gambling, fantasy sports, poker, rummy, or lotteries. No ads, no UPI or bank transactions. Unlawful apps can be blocked. Online Gaming Authority set up to categorize games, resolve compliance, and enforce compliance. Strict penalties, offering money games up to 3 years in jail plus rupees 1 crore fines. Advertising them, 2 crore 50 lakh rupees plus 2 years in jail. Financial transaction, 3 years in jail plus rupees 1 crore fines. Repeat offenders, up to 5 years in jail and rupees 2 crore fines. Offences under section 5 and 7 shall be non-bailable. Why does this matter? For youth, no more predatory apps exploiting their time and money. For family, protection of debt and distress caused by gambling addiction. For India's digital economy, a safe ecosystem that encourages creativity, exports, and jobs. For national security, blocks misuse of gaming platforms of illegal activities. This is not just about gaming, it's about India's balanced digital growth. It's a model where technology is equal to empowerment, not exploitation. Innovation is equal to safe, ethical, and responsible. Growth is inclusive and sustainable. Moving towards becoming a Viksit Bharat, India is making sure that gaming means skill, esports, and opportunities, not gambling, addiction, or harm. With the Online Gaming Bill 2025, India levels up, encouraging innovation, protecting citizens, and building a responsible digital Bharat and making it an online gaming hub. Thank you, sir.
Now it's time for voting. Those who are in favor, please say yes, and those who are not in favor, please say yes. No. Secretary General, please.
Fourteen says yes and 10 says no.
Thank you, Secretary General. The promotion and regulation of Online Gaming Bill 2025 is passed by a voice vote. The bill seeks to prohibit the offering, operation, facilitation, advertisement, promotion, and participation in online money games, targeting firms that offer fantasy sports and card games where user can deposit and risk money. This is a good bill. We are seeing society and families getting destroyed every day. Bringing such a bill is in the national interest. Congratulations to all of you. The House is adjourned.